this adaptation by BDS Academy. They can still go for Sivir or Talia here. I don't mind either one of them. The option is, though, that they're quite likely to get the other band away from them in that draft.
Yeah, and the Rakan as well, quite a strong skirmishing support. Someone that has a lot of mobility, can dip and dive in and out of the fights at will. And if BDS Academy are going to be skirmishing a lot in the early stages, which kind of has been their style, then makes sense as a pick for them. The Sivir, I don't think is really a surprise, just trading hyper carries into the Jinx.
And now we get to see what sort of supports get focused by BDS Academy. You imagine that bot lane is going to be the focus of the bans for BDS. They can quite easily opt into just taking away the likes of a Lulu, a Yumi as well, could potentially be taken off the board. Really not or Jinx, a champion that thrives so well with Lulu and so well with Enchantress just as a whole. That extra element of safety going to do very well. The Viego taken on 3 by LDLC is absolutely no surprise. They have the core composition that they won last game with. Building it back out in game number 4 makes absolutely no surprise.
Yeah, but intriguingly enough, I feel like teams are actually focusing a bit more towards these lane counters. LDLC actually banning away the Talia in that second rotation alongside Lissandra, both champions that have decent matchups into the Ahri, and BDS Academy removing that Gwen away from Ragnar. I wouldn't be surprised to see another ban targeted at the LDLC top laner. Try and secure Adam a matchup which he feels a bit more comfortable in.
Yeah, LDLC are going to have counterpick right here. They have the luxury of being able to counterpick support and counterpick top lane just because we saw BDS sort of focus so much into their bot side. They have the option, though, for BDS Academy to counterpick that mid lane, and this is why red side is sometimes really good for drafting, because you get to ban away 2 of the counters in this second phase. Like I said, was quite surprised to see the Lulu not taken off the board as well, but that's not going to be the choice. DOS much more favourable, it feels like, on these engaged supports. It is a takeaway from what they won the game with. We did get to see DOS play a little bit more Enchanter focused and take the win. But DOS on engages always looks good, always looks like they're going to take games. So yeah, no surprises to see the Leona locked in as a true counter to the Rakan.
And it's building a composition for LDLC, which does what they did last game, but even more. I feel like Leona's ability to snap engage in a lot of circumstances when both teams are sort of stancing at each other at like a river fight around a Baron or a Dragon. That solar flare, you just pop that in the air, and you immediately get the pick. You can follow up with your additional picks you see from Yike and Ica, and whoever gets locked down from BDS Academy is probably going to die. Once again, we are seeing Adam on the Olaf, 3rd time in this series. Has had one great game, has had one not great game. Let's see how he pulls it out here.
Now, the option, of course, to simply go on, of course, taken off the board by BDS Academy is what LDLC have sort of defaulted to in regular season, but now we get to see Ragnar dip a little bit further down in that champ pool. Chances to see something like the Jace as well, which sets up for quite easy sets of dive if they want to go for, or not dive necessarily, but poke, and then the first kill in a team fight, of course. It means that first target going to be a little bit more susceptible to death, having taken a big chunk away. Instead, they're going to opt into the Sion matchup here, so trying to mitigate the lead that Adam can generate in the early stages by just putting a big meatball up there.
Yeah, Sion has incredible wave clear, even for a tank, and can really kind of ignore a lot of people in the early stages, and obviously is going to be stacking up that health from that W passive to become a pretty immovable monster in the later stages of the game. And the way the compositions have rounded out Rooted, it feels very, very sort of traditional from LDLC, honestly, in terms of where we are seeing the power being placed. BDS Academy, a little bit more focused towards the top side in the early game, which I don't think is a real surprise to anyone.
No, not particularly. I want to just check quickly, because we have right here...
That's not an
Wukong
Aphelios
top.
mid lane. That's not an Aphelios
Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, we have a couple graphics bugs. I missed the Aphelios mid lane entirely. I was more curious about the Olaf counter swap into the jungle, but... anyway, we're going to assume that we'll have, obviously, Olaf jungle, Silas mid lane. There we go. The Olaf in the top lane, excuse me, with the Wukong in the jungle, but... There we go. Oh, that's all sorted on out. It's very traditional, very stock standard from LDLC. They've got this core front-to-back team fight with great reset capabilities. And then BDS Academy, they've got a bit more split push capability to them. They do still have really core team fighting with the Sivir, with the Olaf too. We'll see if they can make it work.
We're going to be seeing 2 teams butting heads in Game 4. Who's going to come out on top? Do LDLC keep the reverse sweep dream alive? Or do BDS Academy stamp down and to close out this series? We'll find out in just a moment. Let's go, everybody. We thought that this series may have been done and dusted by Game 3. But LDLC, they woke up. They came here to play. And they have got the potential reverse sweep lying ahead of them. BDS Academy want to put last game out of their minds and stomp down on the reigning LFL champions to secure a spot in the final.
It's been a great series thus far, Middlecott. Of course, our series so far have only been 3-1s. We've only done one of them so far, but it's a good sign for BDS Academy if they can keep the trend on going. Maybe try and take themselves, like you say, to that final a little earlier than some people may have anticipated. Cautionary starts. We've seen a lot of these in our 3 games thus far. Nobody particularly eager on making these productive level 1 plays where you search for those aggressive wards, but for the most part, nice tempered aggression. Quiet early game again is to be expected. You've got a little bit of pressure in the top side for BDS Academy if they want to try and leverage that lead a little bit more. But it's going to come down to those team fights. And again, if we get to that late game stage, I do favour LDLC. I once again have to put the onus of execution on to BDS Academy to try and make some moves in the early game. Looks like they're going to try and do it from level 1.
Oh, that's so smart from Ica, though. Just hovering around mid lane, trying to spot out where BDS are going. And Ragnar with a charged up Decimating Smash can return a fair bit of damage, although Wukong and Olaf are so strong in these early skirmishes. And Yike flashing away from his own red buff, only a minute and 40 in.
Olaf, one of the best level 1 champions in League of Legends. You get resets on your Q by picking it up. It means that your skirmish capability is simply so strong. But Sion Q over the wall, this could be devastating.
Yeah, as Yike, no flash available, gets stunned with a charge from Rika, and Adam ghosting, running him down with the undertows. First blood to the Olaf.
Well, I gave burden of execution over to BDS Academy, and they have wasted a whole 2 minutes before they get the first blood of the game and try and extend themselves a little bit of a lead. Smite did come down for Shio, so he was able to get level 2 and is now stealing away the Raptors as well. Really good start for the jungler of BDS Academy, and once again, it's a blue 1 pick that could very well decide the entire tides of this game. You know, at least have a 2-camp lead going into the first set of full clears between the junglers. Question becomes, can Yike make a response on the bot side of the Rift? He's going to require push in the mid lane, which shouldn't be too difficult to get, and similarly in the bot lane if he wants to go for an invade.
It wouldn't surprise me because he was absolutely exceptional on the Viego in the previous game. The real reason that LDLC are even in this game 4 right now. Great stuff from him. So wouldn't surprise me if he can make the comeback, as there we are, 2 and a bit minutes into the game. Gets his first CS. Going to be a little bit behind Shio in terms of the jungle pathing, but we'll have to see if he can solve his way out of this one.
Plus, the early pathing from Yike, really what we accredited to game number 1, going to getting that early vision down and setting up for the successful invade on the top side red quadrant. This time round, though, he's obviously been put fairly far down in his clear, and third camp being your scuttlecraft, never a situation that you really want to find yourself in. Was it a little bit curious to see if they were going to go for the fully invested invade into the Raptors, into the red buff, but with this bot prio from BDS Academy, that's not really a luxury that they've got open to themselves. Sivir fairly low on mana here, so currently not able to fully shove this wave, and with Exekick and Doss in a very good spot with the wave state, this is going to be quite difficult for BDS for now.
Oh, look down there on the minimap. Adam is actually pathing his way towards bot lane. Likely just going to be there to make sure that Crowny and Doty can actually get this wave under tower. But maybe they're setting up for something a little bit spicier.
A 5-man dive, Middlecott. I can smell it. I can smell it from afar. Rika probably going to try and push in this mid wave, and then just everybody makes their way down. Crowny doesn't have the most mana to try and set up for this one. This is a big move from Adam. He has got TP. Got to top side, but like we say, big commitment by the BDS top lane to try and make something happen.
I think it is just going to be the attempted reset from Crowny and Doty. Adam keeps cancelling this recall. Really wants to ensure that his Sivir gets a decent base off, and it's not happening. They're still waiting for this to happen.
Yeah, and he doesn't even reset afterwards, so TP back up to the top side. There was a window that he had to wait for, had to see when that top lane wave started to crash into him. I don't think he's going to miss all that much. So it's a big wave crashing in, probably a little bit down in experience, but it's not going to be all that devastating to him. BDS Academy looking for a play in the early stages, proactivity as we requested, but nothing really coming from it.
And the thing about Adam having to burn that TP up to the top lane is, yeah, it sucks, right? As Doss has gone very far forward here in the bot lane, does have the Glacial Augment, so not as tanky as he otherwise would be on this Leona. Crowny, not quite enough mana to throw out any spells to take down the Leona.
Yeah, use them all, of course, to engage that fight. And when you're playing the Sivir with this low mana pool, it's not too easy to get away with going for those chase downs, those all-ins. And you can see as well with the laning state, it's more so a case of, well, we've broken the freeze now with this engage. But there's a chance that they get dove down here. Reminder that Spell Shield no longer gives mana back. Instead, gives you a little bit of a heal and some movement speed. So you need to be careful using those cooldowns so liberally these days.
And the key thing is that I believe Yike had been spotted on a Vision Ward in the River Bush. So and a bit of wasted time for the LDLC jungler. And Shio is going to, well, he has used that to extend the gold lead and the farm advantage that this Wukong does have.
Getting impatient, Middlecott. I like knowing who's going to win games. And at the minute, I don't. Because BDS Academy have got this early lead, but they don't have enough of a lead to feel like, okay, they can compound on this. They can set themselves up for really strong fights through the mid game. Because their gold right now fairly localized in the jungle role. And we saw it have a great effect in the early game last game, in game number 3, where Yike with that Divine Sunderer really just destroyed BDS Academy. But we haven't seen too much movements from Shio outside of that early jungle scuffle. No moves towards the Drake, but with resets having come through for the bot laners, we expect that that could be an area to try and turn their attentions to.
Did see Dote making a play onto Ica in the mid lane. Maybe looking for Doss as well. The Ori just dashes away in time. Charm onto the clone means that Normal BDSA is going to be locked up until Dote gets jumped onto with the Zenith Blade, the Ignite, the damage, Doss with the kill. Yike going for a reset, and Rika forced to steal the dash and dash himself away. Shio with no ultimate on the Wukong can't make the fight happen, but Adam here with the Ghost, the Ragnarok available for the Olaf, but the undertow's not quite hitting. Can't go forward. Here comes Crowny, actually. BDS Academy, they never know when a fight is over, and Adam still has the ultimate available. Yike, super low, slam down. It is a second kill of the game for BDS Academy.
Zenith goes wide on Crowny there, able to just barely get out, but he may be overextending here, going for this control ward.
Well, Dote is going to be so
over yet
by those chompers, but Exakick is already solo on the Jinx. Another kill for BDS Academy in the early stages, and LDLC looked great last game. What's happened?
Complete confusion befalling me right now, Middlecott, because these are fights that just should not be happening. So prolonged, so overextended as Yike forced to dash away. Smites available for both junglers, but Shio's got his upgraded smite. This is 900 versus 450. Not a chance for Yike to steal that one away. Another lead going into the jungle of BDS Academy. Working toward that Divine Sunderer very swiftly. It's going to be ready in maybe the next reset, maybe even now.
And that means that when BDS go for a load of these early skirmishes, they are going to be heavily favored. We're not even talked about the mid lane. Rika here on a new pick in this series on the Silas. Hasn't really had to do too much so far this game because his team's just winning around him.
Yeah, and this Silas, of course, got a lot of great ultimates to steal away. Super Mega Death Rocket is great for sniping people. You've got some great engage tools as well, with the Unstoppable Onslaught, as well as the Solar Flare. Life for Yike just keeps getting worse and worse in this game. 0-2-1 on the Viego, not having the best opener.
There's no one there.
There isn't, but he's still scared, Middlecott.
There could be someone there. That's the terrifying thing. And I mean, plays like that are just going to slow down your clear even more. Dawson, Exakick, moving towards the mid lane, but I'm not sure how much they're actually going to be able to secure it. Feels like Herald is the call from LDLC, but they've not been winning these skirmishes, and I'm not sure if you win around the Herald either.
Nor am I, and this is where these question marks start to arise as to... I think this fight could really be a turning point in the game. It's either going to turn the scales heavily in favor of BDS Academy or keep LDLC very much close and in contention for taking us to that Silver Scrapes game number 5. But it's not going to be a fight in either capacity. It is just slowly hemorrhaging a little bit more gold over to Shio and giving over an advantage to BDS Academy once again, them continuing to find snowballs where they would obviously love to keep that lead going. No Drake trade just yet, but they're looking for a fight instead.
Yeah, Doss Hex Flashing 4 does have level 6, so Solar Flare available for Leona when the man from Denmark wants to throw it out, but BDS Academy claiming down that Rift Herald, stacking so far in the mid lane, but multiple members of LDLC are moving over. No stun secured, and the Sun only goes into that clone. The Cyclone is enough to disrupt the dash from DOS, but the damage is a little bit too much. LDLC with a kill in the mid lane.
Not quite enough to disrupt all 5 members from LDLC from taking you down, and that should lead into the Dragon right here. With no smite, no jungler available, BDS Academy going to have to seed this one, and LDLC quite happy to pick it up for themselves. A rare misstep for Shio in the jungle, and that could be the slight exchange really that keeps LDLC even, keeps them in a happy spot where this game is. Adam should just be able to walk this one off undertow, plus the fact that Ragnar doesn't have the ulti is going to be enough to allow the Olaf out to safety. 2-0 on this Olaf. Down in farm, but with those 2 kills, more than happy to control that top lane as best as possible, and going to be a very powerful force when coming out of that top side.
I think key thing as well is that he's taken a load of plates too. Like there's only 3 plates remaining on that top lane tower, and one of them is probably about 20 HP's worth. So if Adam can keep getting the shove in this matchup, can keep playing forward onto Ragnar, then he'll be able to pick up a little bit more gold in himself. And should they see this Olaf get a bit more accelerated than it was in the previous game, BDS Academy got a reasonable gold lead for themselves. That's going to be increasing ever so slightly. Well, I'll say ever so slightly, by a fair bit, as Shelly readies up and charges headlong into top lane tower.
Big gold! Big gold going the way of Adam there, as well as Shio. Both of them going to get a fair whack of gold from that turret being taken down. And Adam gets to go back to base again. Can probably complete his mythic off the back of that turret crash, but has an extra wave here. Going to quite have to slip this one up. Ragnar, with this completed Sunfire Aegis, is going to be a full tank this game. It's something that we've not really seen from the series thus far. But questions have to be asked about BDS Academy's tank-killing capabilities now. Sivir is going to go Kraken Slayer, is going to go Phantom Dancer as well. Very good single-target damage, but it's not typically going to be enough to try and cut through a Scion. Not the greatest tank shredder is our young Sivir. Probably going to need that LDR, and that then delays your Infinity Edge, delays that 3-item spike that we saw to be so powerful for a Sivir in games gone by. Silas and Wukong, not necessarily the greatest. Potentially a Black Cleaver angle for somebody on BDS Academy this game.
Dote was definitely in threat range there. DOS had the ultimate, but trusting the BDS Academy support to be able to get out of the situations with the mobility that the Rakan does offer. And I like the point that you're making, because whilst this is a pretty actually significant lead for BDS Academy at the moment, 3,000 gold in their favor, you can't afford to slow down against someone like a Jinx, against someone like a Sun, because these champions that scale incredibly well. And the damage that this Jinx can put out in late game team fights, matched with the tankiness that this Sun is going to possess, is something really, really difficult to deal with.
And we use the term hyper carry fairly frequently, but Ragnar is something that we like to call a hyper tank, where he indexes exclusively into those tanky stats. His passive, his whole kit is built around being a tank for the front line. The W passive is the thing that obviously gives him a lot of staying power in these team fights, gives you bonus health, which means that you get to index very heavily into these resistances, and having that Sunfire Aegis as well means that you can quite easily reach the totals of 4,000-5,000 HP in those late game team fights. And even if you've got a Sivir shredding you for Kraken Slayer crits, that still takes a fair while to cut through. And like I've said, I think that if we get to see Shio or Adam opt into a Black Cleaver, it's going to be a crucial item to try and alleviate some of the stresses that Crownie is going to have.
That definitely would make a lot of sense. 14 minutes into the game, or near as makes no difference. And it feels like the story of a lot of this series has been a little bit of crazy stuff in the very, very early stages, but then we do have this lull around the sort of 10 to 18 minute mark. I feel like it is the timing that has been the case so far in this series. And when it gets to 18 minutes, both teams just start fighting each other ridiculously. Adam may be fighting Ragnar a little bit earlier, but obviously with the ult available, can just jump out of there as Shio, forcing the defensive ultimate from Yike as well.
I want to quickly illustrate how good Yike is at jungle. He was set behind by not having his first 2 counts and not getting his first CS until 2 minutes 40, something along those lines. He's now ahead in experience over Shio. The ability to catch up for this person, for Yike in particular, has proven to be very, very abundant, and now finds himself at parity with this Viega or with this Wukong in a very good spot in the game to now be a threat to contend with. Gold difference, maybe not speaking to that quite so much, but the experience is something that you really can see is fairly powerful.
Yeah, and a lot of that gold lead is on Adam, who is going for his third mythic in 3 Olaf games so far in this series. Game 1, it was the Gore Drinker, then it was the Stride Breaker, now opting into the Trinity Force. And correct me if I'm wrong, Rudu, but this feels like an item that says, I care about the team fights a little bit less, I want to beat you up in the side lane.
Yeah, and he's always going to have chase potential onto Ragnar. The thing about Sion is he's got one escape tool, and it's that big train that charges you away to safety. Outside of that, you're never really going to be able to get out, and you don't need the Stride Breaker. It does mean that you're opting into this side lane.
Ooh, yike, just dodging away from the engage as Doss is going to sacrifice himself for his jungler over the wall, but the Boomerang Blade follows Crowny with another
Crowny
kill for
predicts
BDS Academy.
Recognizes that Flash is going to be used and takes him down. There goes the Spirit Rush in the mid lane as well from Ica. BDS Academy stepping up at just the right times. This is what we've seen from them in their wins, recognizing their times to fight.
Execute, you've gone too far forward, mate. You can't step up there. The Sion Pain Train goes all the way down the river and locks up Shio, but he's going to be forced to flash defensively over the wall. BDS Academy, maybe getting caught out here as Adam charmed, and going to be the first reset of the fight for Yike, but chase potential not quite there for the rest of LDLC.
Doesn't quite have the support of his team here. Yike stepping forward, knows he has to get back out to safety, and a rare misstep there, it feels like. Adam just a little too far forward, does get caught out and give a little bit of gold back over to the LDLC squad. It is going to be Yike picking that first shutdown up. It's 450 gold for him, and now Doss with Hex Flash ready can try and take down Rika.
Maybe in trouble here, still has the flash available, is going to steal away the ultimate from Doss and actually use it on the enemy supporters on the bottom side of the fight. Shio is beating up on Yike. The experience difference not really being considered here. The item lead in favor of the Wukong is more than enough.
Oh boy, oh boy, and with the Cyclone available, that is just not a favorable fight for Yike in any capacity. The fact that we see Rika able to handle a 2v1 versus Ica and Doss as well, also very, very impactful to how this fight ended up playing out on that bot side. He doesn't have the support here, Yike, of his support who's just flashed over the wall to try and get a kill in the mid lane. Shio now going to turn this to a second Herald for BDS Academy. Probably more gold going to go into their Civet if they fancy it. This should just be Ragnar being, chunked out quite heavily. Working through that health bar very quickly because Olaf maybe not the greatest necessarily taking down tanks, but did actually get a little bit of armor shred given to him in his recent rework.
Yeah, that Q, that undertow, cut through the resistances and means that you can apply a bit more pressure onto the Sun. It does very much feel like you do not a lot of damage, and it slowly stacks up to, actually, holy moly, Ragnar is at 20% HP, and he's going to be forced to ult away, and that's such a key engage tool for LDLC as Adam might just be proving our point here. He's going to be using that Ragnarok and the Ghost as well. Chase down the Sun, interrupts the ultimate. One axe goes slightly wide, but it's not going to matter. A solo kill for the BDSA top laner, and Yike has no business fighting him.
Really strong from Adam in this bot side. The beauty of this Olaf into Sion matchup is that your ultimate now extends with the rework of the Olaf. Every time you put down an auto attack, pop down an attack that lands, you get more staying power. The Ragnarok is infinite duration if you're continuing to find fights. Adam positions himself wisely as well, blocks the unstoppable onslaught, prevents the escape coming through, and because you're immune to CC, effectively you take a little bit of damage, but when you are fastly out DPSing anything that Sion can put down, it does not matter. Really strong performance from Adam, and working his way towards that second item now, taking a quick pit stop at Warden's Mail to give himself a bit more staying power in a front line if there's a fight to engage like that. Certainly on the road to success.
Yeah, great stuff so far from the most POG player in the LFL, I believe. Most player of the games out of anyone in the league. Maybe somewhat not deserved, but definitely in this game he's been looking pretty darn good. We're at that point where BDS Academy usually want to start fighting up against LDLC, and looking at the itemization completions, whilst they're relatively even across the board, BDS Academy just have that little bit of extra power.
2k gold lead is nothing to write home about, really, at this stage in the game, but it is enough to, like you say, have just that little bit of staying power. We get to see Shio there, exemplifying one of my favourite Wukong mechanics, simply pressing S and baiting everybody into thinking that you've cloned, because those two, are identical, you can see. As the Rift Herald used in the mid lane, it's not gold funneled into anybody in particular, it's more so map pressure funneled for the entire squad, with mid-tier 1 taken down. You get to push into the enemy jungle with a lot more ease, set up that vision and make sure that you are the ones aware of plays being made.
Woohoo! Brownie aware that he could have get played onto as Iker dashing over the wall away from Adam, who has used the Ragnarok as well. And if it allows for more space for skirmishing, BDS Academy are going to be so happy about that, especially with the tools that they've got to harm LDLC if they try and check into them. You've got the Wukong with the knockups, you've got the Rakan with the snap engages, the Silas has got locked down as well, and LDLC, they can try and make a play onto Sheer, but the defensive tools on the BDS Academy jungler are just too much.
Look at the mid lane. They're trying to get pushed their bot lane as well. They're not going to be able to secure it, though. Exakick is doing a good job at running point for those minions, and Rico on the side was not quite able to push all the way into his turret in time. So this is a lot of is on the bot side, on the top side of the map, where BDS Academy a little bit slow to respond, but with all the control that they've set up in this bot side river, they're going to actually be able to do a good chunk of damage onto this turret. And with Drake spawning in just under, well, now actually, might be able to get that as well.
Yeah, here comes Ragnar to secure the knockup on to Rika, but should be able to... Oh, actually just take him out. There's just way too much damage there from LDLC, and now with a momentary numbers advantage around this Drake, they may look for it.
Yeah, turret hurts. They were able to clear out that wave. Sion, like you say, has got incredible wave clearing when you sort of charge headlong into people. Clears out minions quite quickly. They get the Drake, but can they get out?
Oh, Yike finding initial play onto Sheer, but it's LDLC who are getting turned on. A defensive flash to the enemy side of the rift is not a good play if you want to live long. DOS taken out as Adam claims that kill, and Yike has very, very few options. Starts to run back into the river, trying to turn it onto a Dote, but it's not going to happen, mate. Another advantageous fight for BDS Academy as they get the Drake as well.
Drake plus 2 kills in exchange for a mid lane tier 1 turret. They may be able to break down that bot tier 2 as well, with Adam having a little bit of time to himself down there. So overall, late game objective securing style, this is good for BDS Academy, but I'm sure for the interim, LDLC actually are very happy they're able to take down that mid tier 1 turret. Not too much gold really sat on Yike's head, this 4-death Viego. Having a completely different game. The duality of Viego, it feels like, from games 3 and 4. Gold lead still sat at 2k, so you can see that despite these objectives, despite these kills, LDLC keeping that gold even, keeping themselves competitive in game number 4.
And I think this is just the nature of games where you have two genuinely higher level teams going at each other. If one team gets an advantage, it can snowball pretty quickly if they feel comfortable to it, and your Viego that was honestly MVP worthy in the previous game is now 1-4. DOS locked up here in the front line as it's a load of damage actually traded back onto Rika, but he dodges away from the Super Mega Death Rocket with that stopwatch, and now DOS is going to be falling low but not quite dead. Adam with the final undertow slays the Leona.
Yeah, Rika there, we think he stepped a little bit too close, literally to the sun. X-Kick doing a lot of damage right there, but good tandem synergy between Shio and Rika, who uses a stasis to buy time for Shio to go forward with the Cyclone, stops the Jinx. TP is not available for Ragnar. They're going for this. It's a 3 versus 4 because Rika has to go back to base. He's going to have TP as well. It's scary.
Ooh.
Ika's still got Spirit Rush.
Stepping up. Yike has the ultimate available. TP coming through from Rika on the back half as Iker not quite able to find the pick onto Crowley, who is able to dodge away from him. A shutdown secured for the mid laner of BDS Academy. Is already 2 kills going in their favor. Yike trying to turn around with the possessions with the ultimates, but the charms, the CC, it's way too much. But a double kill secured for the Viego. He's trying to turn it around, but it's not going to happen. Ragnar, the last man standing for LDLC, but oh so tanky on this Sion. DOS returning to the play. It's actually LDLC that are turning it around. They can't kill the Sion. Rika forced to flash away.
Oh no, he failed a click right there. He definitely misclicked on that cone. He does still manage to get out to safety. No Baron, but a 3 for 3 overall, and Yike on the Viego. You may have had a rough early game, but steps up in the team fight when necessary. Finding 3 kills there for the team, turning them away from this Baron. Rika does a great job on this TP flank angle. He takes down Exakick before really anything is allowed to prosper. Iker, again, diving into this backline, and so much attention is turned onto the Ahri. They forget about the Baron, and they forget about this frontline fight as well. And then just a misstep there, I think, from the BDS squad. They go back to try and hit the Baron to try and keep it leashed. But if they were able to support in the same time frame, they would have taken down Yike without any concerns. And then I think that leads to having your Sivir still alive, to Crowny being able to help out with this tank shredding. And this is what we were talking about, Middlecourt. Remember, early on, their concerns around tank shred capability. Silas not the greatest, and Olaf on 200 HP not going to do too much either. So they do need to keep this in the back of their minds. The later this game goes, the scarier this Silas is going to get. I love that he's just itemizing pure armor. He's only got to think about the magic damage coming from Rika, and if Rika's hitting onto the Sion, Rika's hitting the wrong target.
Might actually be BDSA getting caught in the mid lane. Adam slowed down with the Glacial Augment, zapped as well. He's going to have to ult defensively.
Don't like that.
He's golden as well, but it's just going to get blown up as soon as he comes out of the stasis. A shutdown for Yike, this Viego that was put down into almost irrelevancy in the last 2 engages has absolutely popped off, and now LDLC with the man advantage with the gold lead, basically negligible for BDS Academy, starting to move towards the Baron.
Have to imagine that's a misclick there. If he's using Randuin's active, then that makes a lot more sense than stop watching when you are in ulti. That could be a very crucial mistake though, as now Erdote caught as well.
Yeah, the charm into the damage as Crownie is the lone one standing in the front line. The charms from his support to keep him alive for a little bit longer as Shio caught out. Everfrost crucial from Rika there to lock down Ragnar to prevent the engage coming through from LDLC, and it is mission accomplished for BDS Academy. They stop the Baron and don't lose anyone.
Really crucial stuff there, and nice just stepping forward enough to bait BDS or to bait LDLC off of the Baron. By doing it, they don't lose out on anybody either. They actually turn this into a tier 2 turret falling on the bot side to Adam. Continuing to get gold at this stage in the game, and with Drake spawning just now, BDS Academy have got all of their pieces in the right side of Summoner's Rift. LDLC made a big commit toward the Baron. They'd neglected any setup around this bot side, and now this is sole point for BDS Academy. 5 minutes time. If LDLC haven't secured themselves on the top side of this map, they're going to need to draw big attention down in the bot side.
Yeah, and this game has... it's felt so back and forth. We do the first game in this series where neither of these teams has really been able to take a firm grasp of the game. Neither has been able to really assert their authority on it just yet. LDLC, seeing that dragon taken away, feel like they can start up the Baron.
Far run for Rika, Adam, and Shio. They have to get over here. Extra kick. Good damage onto single targets. The Baron being one of them, but not enough, it feels like, to get through this in time. They may get this, but can they get the fight?
2,500 HP left on the Baron as in dives BDS Academy. Crownie going to be rooted in the front line as there goes Shio looking for the assassination, looking for X-Kick, who is forced to flash away over the wall. The Wukong, the first kill of the fight in favor of LDLC, and the resets start to come through. A double for Ica. The Baron buff at their backs as the undertow from the stolen Olaf will chase down BDS Academy. It is a quadra kill for Ica, and LDLC come alive in this game.
They flip the switch middle cut, and LDLC have decided they want to lose no more. They were down to the Infernal Soul point, but they take the Baron now, and they've just taken a quadra kill. They could take game number 4 right here. Extra kick running down mid lane has got a fresh wave at his back. It's probably just the inhib back away, but LDLC, they might want it all.
They are stancing aggressively, stancing forward. It is 15 seconds till Crownie is alive.
My word,
Minions
no
start
way.
to come through. Dos finds the engage onto Rika. He's got no time to escape. Unstoppable from Ica as in comes the rest of BDS Academy. The first Nexus Tower has fallen down as Ragnar being focused now with the auto attacks from the Sivir. Just going to come through very, very shortly. Shio diving forward as Ragnar already taken so damn low. Where is X-Kick? Where is the damage from this Jinx? It's not happening, but Adam is alone in the front line. The rest of BDS Academy are not backing up their boy. The charm still landing onto Crownie, but he's got free space. He's got time. Shio has got the damage. The CC, the Cyclone. It is a divine win, but LDLC keep their hopes alive. Exekick and Ragnar escaping on slithers of HP.
No TPs to follow here. Rika's got TP right now, though. Is there wards to go to? It doesn't look like it.
Dote ignited, taken out. It was over-aggressive from the BDS Academy support.
Steal
as Rika will now chase down Ragnar, but it's not going to happen. This game looked secured for BDS Academy, but LDLC show that you can never count them out.
And just one call from LDLC completely turns the tides of this game. If you'd have asked 2.5 minutes ago, who was in the driver's seat, unequivocally, BDS Academy were there. They opt into the Dragon and then take resets after. That's a minute, 90 seconds where they're nowhere near the Baron. And LDLC capitalized on it. Not just that, they get the Baron and they get the fight after the fact as well. Exakick uses the wall with his flash to buy space and is able to turn around, DPS down Shio. Commits just a little too far forward and doesn't quite have the damage needed. Now looking at it though, BDS Academy down 3k. Crownie has hit his item spike, but I think that Ragnar on this Scion in the front line proving to be just a little too much. working towards what I can assume is a Warmogs, I think, with this build path. And
yeah,
that is, again, all too much tankiness.
Dos caught out, knocked into the air. He's got nowhere to go on the Leona. An overstep from the LDLC support, but the rest of his team are here to try and save him. The Super Mega Death Rocket dealing a load of damage to multiple members of BDS Academy. As here starts to come the resets. Yike can't claim a kill though, and he's dead. It's finally a kill for Execute, but he is deleted on the other side. There was hope for LDLC, but BDS Academy snatch it away.
They're still in this game, Middlecott. There are no waves in good states. BDS Academy have just denied the Baron from doing anything. They do not look... I don't know who is supposed to be winning this game, Middlecott, and I'm just as confused as I was 2 minutes into this game. Still, both of these teams battling out neck and neck. It feels like this should be our game number 5, with both of these squads giving it what for. But even if LDLC take this win here, they've got to do it all over again in their game number 5. Crowny able to stay alive, able to dish out the damage. This Civ are now fully online. Those 3 completed items, foregoing the Phantom Dancer to get that Lord Dominic's Regard in as soon as possible. Really good stuff for the BDS Academy bot side, and I have to credit Ragnar once again with this build path. Anathema's Chains, if he takes this and puts it onto the Silas, this is the best single magic resistance item that you can pick up, even though it doesn't have any MR, a flat reduction of damage from one single target. And if he puts that onto Rika, like I say, going to give a lot more CC onto the Silas if he's able to land it, but also going to take a lot less damage.
Teleport through from Ragnar into the mid lane. This Drake spawning in 4 seconds. In 2 seconds would be soul for BDS Academy, and compositional differences seem to melt away when an Infernal Soul is on one of the team. Yike is attempting to move forward, but he's not going to get there in time. It's just too quick for BDS Academy, and they may end the series right here. Ragnar being a tank in the front line, but he's being shredded so consistently. BDS Academy, though, go. No, we will not take the fight. We'll move towards mid lane. We will get this priority. Maybe look for a pick onto Yike here. Blasco's himself away.
Oh no, Blasco.
Oh, Dos, oh no! Caught out in the jungle, but he's actually going to be the first reset for Yike. A trade support for support in LDLC's bot side jungle. That means that BDS don't feel comfortable to push any further.
Such tight margins this game, Middlecott. 1 minute left on the Baron respawn, and with both supports down, vision going to be fairly lacking on either side. Don't have those control wards nor the vision wards to place down in the river to try and set yourself up stable vision. Mid lane push goes the way of LDLC, and it looks like the inhibitor is about to respawn for BDS Academy. They're not going to have that pushing wave in the mid lane that Superhumans do grant you. BDS Academy going to do final maintenance clearing, but they aren't going to have control over this top side. It's LDLC who have pushed their way in, forced their way through the top side jungle, and are looking to set up around the Baron. Infernal Soul against them. BDS Academy, obviously, looking to try and take these fights, and as you said, Middlecott, compositional differences set aside when you've got this Infernal Soul up and active. I want to touch on Rika's build path quickly, though. Very low damage Silas has gone for purely defensive items across the board, so he's looking to more run interference than dish out the hardcore DPS.
That could have been nasty if that Decimating Smash connected onto a Dote, but the support from BDS Academy not being hit by the CC.
Keep your eyes on Shio. Look at him on the minimap here. He's looking for a big flank angle behind the entirety of LDLC. He's been spotted out on a ward now, though. It's not going to be given up.
He is used by a Dote, but not able to find anything. Yike stepping very far forward on this Viego. He needs to take care as there goes the on the hunt, and it is the Viego. But BDS Academy, we're going to hunt down. They'll have a few tools available. Adam dancing around the stun ranges. Yike going in for a stun of his own. Rika forcing away the Ahri on the bottom side of the fighters. So much damage has already been dealt to the members of LDLC without any strong criminal. That looks like a strong criminal to me, though, as the Cyclone onto Dos will take him out. It's huge. Exakick is dead, and BDS Academy may have just killed LDL's hopes of making it to the grand final in this game. They have a wave in the mid lane. I think they've done it, Rude Dude.
But it's going to be hard. You can see they need to cut the wave. Yike, cut that wave right now, good sir, because if they don't have a wave, it's very difficult for them to end. Yes, they take down Ragnar, but that wave's going to get to come through. They've got 30 seconds before Exakick, before Ica come back to respawn. With that wave in the mid lane, they may be able to do it. Middlecott send themselves to the finals. Yike, the last bastion of hope.
He was the man that turned this series around, or thought he turned this series around with that Viego performance in Game 3. But BDS Academy, tell him no. Underdogs in the matchup, but besting the LFL champions. BDS Academy send them all the way to the grand finals.
Nobody expected this one coming into the day. A 3-1 for BDS Academy. Not even the full 5 games were needed to destroy LDLC. This was the game that really delivered, though. It felt like the others building up to this one were, yep, we kind of knew who was going to win this one. Compositions was drawn, the battle lines associated, and we knew where the game was going. But this one had tops, turns, twists in abundance. LDLC had the lead, then it was BDS Academy, then LDLC, then BDS, and finally they were able to take it using a great fight through the mid lane, capitalizing on their spacing and capitalizing on just great space being bought by various members at various crucial times. Rika causing havoc on the backside of that team fight. It meant that they didn't have Viego and it didn't have Ari. 2 crucial picks for their reset composition weren't a part of that front line. And they did have enough in the end. The Black Cleaver came through from the Wukong. We saw Crownie able to dish out enough damage with his true